Hello, this is Sam of Sambookery, and I am here for another check-in for Junk Journal January. This is the end of the third week, so I've been working in this journal for 3 weeks now, and I was just going to do a little flip through and show you guys what I got done in this last week since the previous video. It's getting pretty chunky, trying not to add too much bulk. One thing I worked on this week was making the top edge and the side edge more interesting with lots of bits. So I've added some tabs along the top, some lace, and on the side there's lots of different tabs coming out the edge. I love to have my edges look really interesting and varied. I did not do anything here this week. So let's see. Okay, I did talk about this door. I've been leaving it for maybe since the first week, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I did go ahead and cut the door so that it opens now. And inside here you have this like lino cut woodland scene. And I've added a little adventure awaits you and a little butterfly on the inside of the door. And then when you open it up, this is actually a stuffed tag that had the woodland scene on the back, and then inside are a couple of tag journaling cards. I had this, and because of the way you fold this over to the front, this scene is also printed on the back. So I was trying to find a way to use this in the journal where you could see the back as well. And I mentioned last week I was going to try a shaker card in this window, and the glue I had never dried on the plastic I was trying to use. Like the cellophane or whatever I was trying to use here, so I had to ditch that idea. So this is the second idea I came up with, and I'm happy with this. I can still see the blue sky and the meadow around the tag, and then there's some, like a distant scene behind the door. I'm probably still going to work on this a bit. This is a little plain, and I want maybe some kind of dimensional handle to the door. So that's something I'm looking to do for the last week, if I have time. I added some lace here to this flip up. It's got the library card on it. Let's see. A lot of this was already done. Some lace here, it's more like a crocheted trim. And I added this little file folder here with just some scraps I had from the kits I've been working on. Left this the same, but I did add a tab to the top of this page. This is all the same from the previous week, except for the tabs being added here on some of them. And, adding tabs this late in the stage, it was kind of hard to find pages that had space on the edges, and that's why some of them I did on the top, because I've just already put so much stuff in this journal. I didn't have a lot of room to add tabs and to be able to make them like evenly spaced apart. This page, I just added some handwriting. I've got this, these are like two of my favorite pencils. These big fat 2.0 chunky pencils. This one's like mechanical, but it looks like, a regular wooden pencil. And then this is like a cheap one from the store. One's from Japan. But I love writing with this super fat lead. And so, I don't know if you guys can see because it is pretty light. But I was reading Lucia and Map book. So I just wrote some names from the characters in that book. But let me flip this back in. I think that's the same. Let's see. I did add this pocket here. I've been looking for somewhere to put this card. I love tea and I love the teapot. So I've added that with a bit of lace to it. And then I've just stuffed the pocket with a few things. Just some overlapping ephemera. And just to give dimension to these cards, I had some square digitals I just added to the top as kind of like a tab to help pull them out. I also one year had a calendar, like the Audubon Society bird calendar, and I cut out a lot of the birds, and I've just got a box full of these, you know, bird images cut out. So, oh, sorry, there's a glare. So because I've got the blue page here, I pulled out this blue bird and added it to this side. I decided to, so far, I'm still leaving the middle empty. All right, here's a fun thing I did this week. So I wanted to have some flips, more flips. I've got flips, I'm adding more. So this one folds out, and then you've got an extra fold out here, and then this one goes up. So I haven't added anything else to it yet, but I wanted to get the structure down. And I hooked these together with strips of like coffee dyed muslin that I just glued down to either side of the paper as like a hinge. So it's a very flexible hinge. And then this one's hidden because I didn't want to mess up this page. I'm pretty sure I'm leaving it pristine with nothing here. So I didn't want the fabric hanging over on this side. So I just did like an interior hinge. So it's on this page and the fold out on the inside, but from this side you don't see anything. So it's kind of hidden. This pocket, I think this was here. I may have added, I fussy cut out this lantern from one of the printables and added that there. Did I have this? I think I did. This is just a little journaling paper. Here I've added this fabric as a pocket with some lace. And this is the lace that was sticking out at the top of the journal. I just added that here, but pushed it up a little so it would peek over the edge. Here is just two little journaling cards that I've hinged together. This is actually 4 of them that I have cut out, and I glued the fabric in between. So I put glue on 2 of the back sides of 2 of the cards and laid the fabric down, and then I put glue on these and put it on top. So the fabric is hinged inside, and I just chose to leave it coming out the top and bottom, but you could obviously cut it off flat and then you would have a very clean look here. But I like this because it can go, there's no like front or back, like it can just go either way, because none of these is really like the cover. So I just like the interactivity of this. And then this card is just a collage of things. Just because there needed to be something happening up here because this guy was so small. So just, you know, leftover bits. That's a piece of this fabric, but turned to the back side so you don't see the gold. One of the number circles. And just scrap of paper and a scrap of this like woven paper. And then the pocket was I tore it down to this size, and then it was a little longer than the page. Instead of cutting it off, I just folded it over and glued it on this other side here, just to add something else and another texture here. I don't know if this was here. I used a couple of the big circles as just a tab and also like a pull to open and close this page. These are some file folders I've been designing. These were extras, and so I like the tab sticking off the edge of the journal. So I glued this to the page flat, and now it just flips open like this. And I added a tuck spot. This is a paper I did like off stamping whenever I did stamping, and there's a little bit of ink left on my stamp. I just stamped it on here. And then I was like, well, don't throw that away. We'll just save it as a nice little scrap. And then I made a little pocket out of this little card. This is just some scrap background print from one of the digitals, and I glued them back to back so that it'd be two-sided, and then it's like extra thick. And I just tucked that in there. Here is another flip. This is like a commercially available vintage postcard that I had, and I just used washi tape to hinge this in over this page of, these are some more of the birds I had cut out. I wanted to add, found January 26th is birds. So I wanted to add some photos of birds. And then I wanted to add something glossy just for something different, because all the digitals are pretty matte. So adding something glossy in here from a magazine or from a calendar just adds a different texture. I think this is the same, except I did add the tab up top here. And then I tucked a few things in this pocket. These are just some like collage papers or junk journal papers that I had my stash that had some yellow going on with them, and I thought it looked nice with the yellow ephemera on this page. Here's another one of the folders. And I added an extra tab here because I was really needing a tab more towards the center of the journal to kind of even it out, the spacing. And so I was running out of pages. So I just added it to the front of this one. So it helps to open this. And then I really liked these two digitals just by themselves as like pieces of art. So I just centered them and glued them down in the folder. So it's just something to look at. And then the whole folder is glued down. And then this page, yeah, I can't remember if this is from this week or from the second week, but we'll go ahead and look at it. I just added a number and a tab to the top of these cards, and I actually did a different number on the back, and because this was landscape, I did it landscape orientation, and this side, I'm using it more vertical, so I did it vertical. This is the page that I had accidentally glued down here. The glue had seeped out from under the oranges and glued to this page. So I managed to pull that off, and then I put this fussy cut of a stack of books on the back to cover where it was like torn. And then I've just collaged down paper here over where it was torn on this page. So you'd never know if you didn't see it. So don't worry about making mistakes or your glue seeping in your journals. It's, especially with junk journaling, it's very forgiving. Everything is like easily fixed or layered over. This is some washi. Let's see, I made another flip here. This with some washi on the edge, and it just flips out and it's got a tab on it. So I kind of just did the structures on week 3, and then week 4, I'm just going to start going in and filling in, you know, behind here and adding things to it. But I just added a collage of a few pieces here on top of it. I wanted to leave some pages like completely blank for week 4 so I can get like a few complete spreads done, but it was hard. I was running out of blank pages. Here, what did I make here? Let's see. Oh yeah, it's just like a tuck spot. So this is a label from some packaging and some digitals, and I had a little piece of lace left from cutting it down to fit the other pages, so I just stuck that on here. And then these are just a couple of digitals behind here. And I added a couple things to the top just for dimension and as a tab to pull them out. Oh, okay. So this is a folder. And so this file folder I put on the page, and then I glued it here for a tuck spot, but I left it open here as a flip. Okay, I remember this now. So this is a file folder, and it opens up this way. You can kind of see here, this is the folder. So that's another way to add like a tiny folder to your journal, or to add a flip. Just use half of it. It's only glued, I'd glued it along the edge for stability and on the bottom. But other than that, it's open. And so this is just a collage on this side. And I added this fabric here as like a sideways tuck spot here. And just put a few pieces of ephemera in here. So sometimes I use the fabric with the metallic shiny side up, and sometimes I use the reverse side just to get the color without the shine. There you go. Because it's really shiny. Here I had a strip of fabric, of paper left from cutting out digitals. So I made a belly band out of it. And then just to add something, I added, because we have gold here, I added a piece of washi that had some metallic on it. And then I just put a couple of my favorite journaling cards in here that I didn't really want to cover up inside of a pocket. And I left this page, I'm always afraid to put my flips back. I left this page blank too. So I feel like I have these two left to work on this week. And I've got some that are blank that I may leave blank because this is already like a very busy patterned paper that I like. And so I don't necessarily want to cover it up. But there's some room here to work. This one, I wasn't going to cover it up because, like I said, the book's getting fat. And I do want to have just some like calm pages. But if I want to add something in this open space, I have that available to me. This page is all blank. So that's another page. So I didn't leave 7 blank pages, but I left a few, and then there's a lot of pages that definitely could have more done to them. And then this is the back page. It's still the same. So I feel like I made a lot of progress this week. But it's like a mad rush at the end to try to get all the little finishing touches. I need to go back through with stamping, with stickers, with metal, adding like grommets, eyelets, charms, paper. I do want to add more paper clips in to clip things in more like temporarily. So there's a lot of things I want to add to the journal, but if I don't get to everything, there's only a few pages left to do, and I feel like I can definitely complete this to my satisfaction by the end of January. And so far, I really love this. It's not as much time as you would think, as long as you pull all the supplies out and have things handy. I have a box on my desk with all the papers and ephemera and stuff, and I have like a mini scoring board and my glue and everything just handy right next to the journal. So whenever I get some time, I can just pop in and work on it. And it's really, this looks like so fat, like it would take me months to make, but it really hasn't taken that much time at all. So I've been having a lot of fun with this junk journal January. So I will see you guys next week with the final flip through. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.